Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out AmItheA whole. Story 1. AITA 4, Stealing, My Sister's In-Laws. I always thought my sister, 27F, and I, 25M, had a decently close relationship until a few years ago when it came out that she thought of me as a golden child. She held resentment towards me for things I just looked at as the typical more lax treatment of the younger child in a family. I honestly thought the whole thing was pretty silly, especially since we were both years out of being under our parents' roof at this point, so we went a while without talking. We saw each other at family events but didn't really speak. I was invited to her engagement party as a form of an olive branch extension. It was there I met her future husband's younger brother, and we immediately got along. The two of us got to know each other and spent about a year as friends before making things official around a month before my sister's wedding. I love his family so much. His parents are warm and inviting in a way that feels so genuine, even before I was introduced as a significant other. Not to knock my parents, but with them being lawyers and working politically adjacent careers, it can be easy to become jaded when you watch them schmooze to people's faces even when that doesn't reflect their true feelings. I was the first person he ever brought home to meet them and they made me feel like part of the family immediately. Their youngest brother has been equally as welcoming and regularly schools me in Overwatch 2 by staying alive far longer than I ever could. When I told my sister this, thinking it was something we could bond over, she was angry again. Apparently she didn't receive the same treatment. This resulted in a big argument which led to her saying something to the effect of, "I guess this is what happens when two golden children get together." I pushed back against this, and it further devolved with her pointing out that out of all the people in the world, she couldn't believe I had chosen her husband's brother. She said I had stolen opportunities from her growing up and now I was stealing her in-laws. I considered telling my partner's parents about this at one point to let them know the animosity my sister apparently holds towards them, but I decided against it. I don't really know where I stand in this conflict and at this point I'd just like some outside perspective. AITA? Story 2. AITA for not paying my daughter's rent anymore due to her jealousy towards her sister. I, 43F, have a 22, Sam, and 14, Kathy, daughters. Our family was dirt poor as Sam was growing up. It was a bad time overall. We knew something needed to change when Sam was 8, so I went to college at night. We could only afford a few classes a semester, so it took longer than 4 years. I finally graduated from when Sam was 14, but we were still poor even with the new much better job due to debt. When she was 18 it finally got a lot better. I got really lucky and ended up in a high demand field. We went from struggle for food on the table to could go on vacation twice a year without problems. Kathy was 10 when we were much more stable, so her and Sam's childhoods are a lot different. Kathy can go to a nice school while Sam's school was a shit inner-city public school. I don't have to buy from thrift stores anymore, she has an iPhone and so on. Now I pay for Sam to go to college without any debt, and she comes on all family vacations free, pay her apartment rent and so on. The problem is Sam is so jealous of her sister. The school is taking people on a trip to DC and that's where all of this came to a head. Sam yelled at her sister about how she is a spoiled brat and told me I should treat her the same way she was growing up. That's she should get hand-me-down clothes and have to go to a shit school. We got in a bigger argument about she believes I should be poor to her sister. I told her if she wants us to be poor so much then she can pay her own rent from now on. She called me an ass when she realized I was serious. She went to our aunts and they are on her side. AITA? I will give her a call, see if we can work this out. Story 3. AITA for telling a friend that relationship drama is no excuse to call me and my husband at 4 a.m. I, 37M, have known Tom, 30M, for a while and he is also friends with my husband, 42M. Tom, 30M, has been seeing Ben, 31M, for almost a year. Last night Tom went through Ben's phone and found messages where Ben said he can be clingy and annoying, so he's not ready to fully move in with him but sleeping over every once in a while and then taking a breather at home works. He started calling both me and my husband at 4 a.m. over and over like it was an emergency. When we were awake enough to answer, he was crying and saying it's not going to work out and that he can't go back to bed where Ben is sleeping. As Tom explained what really happened, my husband got very annoyed and laid back down. I told Tom that since this isn't an emergency, we have to talk another time. I completely understand why he was upset. He was dating to marry and had expectations. But I don't think it was okay to call us about it so late. I told him he shouldn't call us at that time unless it's an emergency. He said he was having a panic attack and it was a relationship emergency. I told him I didn't have the energy to argue and that he should respect our boundaries. Tom thinks what I said today is cruel because we still won't listen to him vent about what he found on Ben's phone. I told him we will listen when he apologizes to me and my husband and understands why he shouldn't call at 4 a.m. AITA? Story 4. AITA for praising my neighbor on the phone and upsetting my BF. A couple of months ago I, 27F, moved into a new apartment with my BF, 28M. We're still in the process of settling and neighbors have been super friendly. One of our neighbors is an 18-year-old kid who lives with his grandma. He has been especially helpful showing us around. Well, a few days ago I received some deliveries but struggled to carry them up the stairs. I asked my BF to help me out and he said he'd do it later. He was gaming, so later meant never. Our neighbor was about to enter his place and spotted me. He immediately jumped in to help and did it all much faster and more efficient. I gave him some snacks/water as a thank you and we parted ways. Afterwards I was on the phone with my sister in the kitchen and my BF was present as well. I was praising our neighbor and told her how sweet/helpful/thoughtful he is. My BF freaked out when he realized that our neighbor helped carry everything upstairs. In fact, he got so upset that he told me to stop telling my sister about the situation. I started laughing because he suddenly seemed concerned and kept asking me for details on the situation. I jokingly said that he was busy gaming whilst the 18Y/O gentleman put his physical strength to actual good use. Well, that did it because he looked at me like I took a dump on the kitchen table. Then he told me that from now on I should always go to him first before running off. I said that this is entirely up to him. For the rest of the evening he was clearly in a bad mood. He also asked me to stop bad-mouthing him to my sister, although I never did. So am I the asshole for singing our neighbor's praises and basically embarrassing my BF on the phone? Story 5. AITA for telling my girlfriend that I feel sad about her not wanting me with her. So that's the situation. My M24 girlfriend, F25, has to get her wisdom teeth out. She is very scared of this operation, but it has to be done. Her appointment is in about a week and she asked her best friend to assist her. She told me she doesn't want me to be at her side because she will feel vulnerable and ugly in that situation. I just told her that I feel sad about that because it makes me feel that I can't give her a feeling of security. She accuses me of making her feel guilty for that and that I should keep that to me next time. So am I the asshole for telling her how I feel about that situation? Story 6. AITA for refusing to leave the delivery room upon my best friend's husband's request. I 23F have a best friend, let's call her T, 22F, who just gave birth 1 week ago. T has a husband, K, who I have never gotten along with. When I first met him he didn't like me very much. He was rude, snappy, and honestly I was too, so our relationship never really got past the enemy stage. Well, a couple weeks ago my best friend asks me to be one of the people in the delivery room with her since we have known other since the 2nd grade. Of course I accepted. So fast forward to the day T's water broke. Me and her were already somewhat close to the hospital since a lot of the food places we got to are only 10 minutes away. So we get to the hospital and K is already on the way. K arrives and immediately scowls at me asking WTF is she doing here. I just ignored him and focused on T. Well, soon enough it was time. T went into labor, but instead of grabbing K's hand for support T grabbed mine. K was obviously upset about this and told me to leave the delivery room and wait outside. I was about to go outside when T grabbed my hand and told me to stay. So I stayed. K got so mad he ended up leaving the hospital altogether. I stayed with T until she was released from the hospital and she asked me to move in with her for moral support. Just background, K wasn't moved in with her, they had separate houses. So I moved in. K found this out and has been telling his friends that I was trying to take his role as the baby's father. TS was getting hateful texts for K saying how I should butt off of their lives now. T has had enough and ended up saying, if you can't respect my best friend then don't come and visit. I feel really bad. I'm not trying to drive them apart, I am only trying to support my best friend. Am I the asshole? Story 7. AITA for not accepting my father's gesture of turning up at Pride. My father, 60, and I, 29, have a low-contact relationship. We do not spend time together or communicate at all, apart from small talk when I'm at home. He and my mum, 56, are still together. I have a very good relationship with her. I am gay, and me and my mum went to the local Pride recently. She has taken part in a parade before and enjoyed it. We spent a couple hours there, then she was going to walk home and leave me to meet friends. I was surprised when my father showed up to pick up my mum. He's always been very homophobic and I couldn't imagine him coming near an event like this. Aside from the homophobia, he simply was not a good father to me. He never showed love or spent time with me, and I can count the kind things he did for me on one hand. Due to also being racist, misogynistic, xenophobic, and generally hateful, he is just a bad person. This combined with a lot of bullying and emotional abuse from when I was small is why I chose not to have a relationship to him. A few days passed and I spoke to my brother, 37, on the phone. He was similar to my father growing up, including bullying me. We have since healed the relationship by him changing and apologizing for past behavior. We are not super close, but speak maybe once a month. He has a good relationship with my father. My brother said he had something hard to tell me. He had spoken to my father, who had broken down in tears that he has tried endlessly to repair his relationship with me, but nothing he can do is good enough. Apparently turning up to Pride, saying hello and immediately leaving was his way of accepting me and trying to have a relationship with me. I don't believe it. I am not open to the idea that he has changed because he is still an emotionally abusive and manipulative POS to my mum. He has also never said anything to me at all that would even hint he was trying to make amends, including on the day of Pride. When I told my mum about this, she said she didn't know he was upset but mentioned that a few years ago, I was getting married, but broke up beforehand, and he wasn't invited to the wedding. When they had a fight, she said something along the lines of, "There's no wonder AITA doesn't want you at his wedding or in his life," and he got the most upset she'd seen him in years. My brother said it's on me to reach out and begin to heal the relationship. I flat out said no. He was outraged, and said I was an off for not caring. But I don't care, I simply don't. I've had therapy for years and accepted that I don't have a father in my life. Some childhood friends agree with my brother, because whenever they've met my father he's been polite, never seeing what happened behind closed doors. Some of my gay friends said they'd love to be able to mend relationships with their fathers, and I'm lucky. So, AITA for not doing anything with my father's pathetic gesture? That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.